up, C2A fans? It's your boy. It's the Belford back at it again tonight for another exciting call live. And tonight with me is my most favorite co-host, the Josh McCouga to my Cody Hall. Danny, what's up, Danielle?
What's up, everyone? Hello, Belford. I looked at the opposite. I said hello to everyone while I was looking at Belford, and then what's up, Belford, when you heard it. Whatever. Hi, Billy. What's up? Call live. We're here. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday, everyone.
Yes, we are here. We are back at it again. We are in full swing now. As Danny and I were talking earlier, our mini vacation is now completely over.
We're done.
The Schmoedown begins in full speed mode starting this week. So, Danny, are you ready for this ridiculousness to begin?
I am. 4 matches a week. I can't believe how many matches we're getting. 3 public matches on YouTube and then a Patreon match. And I'm really excited about that. So this is going to be an exciting season, and it's just going to be so much. It's going to be so much fun to cover. We're super excited about that.
It's going to feel like tournament season does every year, but for the whole season. And then we're going to get tournaments. So it's like, holy smokes. But yeah, so it is we're gonna be like combat journalists because it is war. So as 2-time award-winning journalists, that's right, we are 2-time award-winning podcast media, whatever you want to call it, C2A of the year. It's another C2A award. So we gotta be ready to go guns blazing. And so tonight we definitely have a jam-packed show for everybody. We are going to be breaking down all 4 of those matches that are coming this week. We're going to be talking about some of the announcements that have come out in recently for this season. Free for all, some of the rule book stuff. All the big Schmoedown news this week. We're also going to be talking about some fun topics. Hopefully you guys can contribute in the chat. Or if you'd like to, you can always hit us up, streamlabs.com/call-to-action-podcast. That way we will definitely see it. It doesn't get lost in the chat. But yeah, so Danny, are you ready to start breaking down these matches? All right. So here's a little preview of what we got coming this week. So March 3rd, it's Amaru Moses versus the Jackal, Jesse Swift. What's up, Jesse? We see you in the chat. Thank you for being here. March 4th, we got Marie Wilson. What's that say her name is? I don't even know what her name is. Versus Sean the Saint Sullivan.
The marvelous. Yes, the marvelous Marie Wilson.
Marvelous Marie Wilson. And then on March 5th, we have Lady Justice herself, friend of the show, going up against Vinny, the Ice Pick, Mancuso. It's a nice blend. I really am like the thing that jumps out at me right away is that it's a nice blend of people in the Schmoedown because the first match you have 2 people that we've never seen before in a Schmoedown match. They may have been on fan leagues, I think, with Amaru. And we've seen Jesse on our shows. We've seen him. He was on Schmoebaits this week. He was robbed. 100%. I don't know what the judges were thinking. And then
I wonder who those judges were.
Awful people. And then we have in the middle match we have Marie Wilson, who we've not seen at all in the Schmoedown, but she is well known in Dragon Con. Against Sean, who we've seen, it's so funny to me how the concept of veterans, we feel like we've known them for so long, but I mean, Sean came on the scene last season. A lot of these people came on the scene last season. They're veterans.
Right.
What about you, Danny? What jumps out at you right away just from these matches?
I love that we're getting an IG match, a Star Wars match, and then a singles match throughout the week. Like, it's not just going to be all singles or all Inner Geekdom. We're going to get one of each of the divisions, and I'm super, super pumped about that. And like you said, Billy, it definitely is very hyped up matches. Each of them are hyped up matches because you have Amaru Moses, who was the second round draft pick. This is like, he's going to have a big weight on his shoulders. Like, a lot of people are going to be watching this match because he's got a lot of hype behind him. He's had a lot of hype behind him since day one, since we've all been talking about these rookies. Amaru has had the most hype, and he went second round. So a lot of people are going to be watching this match. So, this is really Jesse's match to lose. I feel like Jesse has no pressure on his back. He's just got to come in and show up. He's been showing up, and we've seen him move around in all of the spaces in different after shows. He's definitely out there on Twitter and all of that stuff. So he's making sure that people know who he is also. So that's pretty exciting with that match. You get one of the biggest rookie matches coming in. And then Marie Wilson, she's a Dragon Con player. A lot of people have talked about Dragon Con and hyped up these players as well. A lot of hype behind these Dragon Con players. Marie Wilson, who has beaten Alex Damon in Dragon Con trivia. That's another hyped up match. And it's hype around that. And whenever you're talking about veterans, we think about Sean Sullivan. Sean Sullivan, friend of the podcast, dear friend. It's very hard for me to want to root against Sean. I don't want to, even though he's on Corruption. And, Corruption is a faction that wins, and, it is what it is. But Sean is a part of Corruption, and we have to accept that. And I love Sean, and I'm very excited to see him play. And it's going to be very interesting to see a Dragon Con player work in this new Schmoedown format. So, and then again with Marisol being this trade in the middle of the season, is this worth it? Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Was it worth it to get Marisol in singles? And her and Vinny have a matching record, so and we've seen Vinny play before. So we know that Vinny can play well. And so that's going to be a very interesting match to see them go against each other. And then to see if Marisol was worth it in that trade. So this is a very hyped up and very exciting week, in my opinion. And that's a very good second week, big start to how we're going to get these matches now, the format of these matches and how they're being dropped. So this is very exciting. I'm super pumped up for this.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We're not going to be able to breathe for the next...
Ooh, I should breathe after that. You just let me go on a Danny rant. I'm sorry.
We love Danny rants. Hashtag Danny rants or where it's at. Yeah, it's really interesting because, it's funny how, there's this interesting dichotomy in each match because you have, Amaru, who came up in the fan leagues, and he now is, kind of representing the Fan League 4. Obviously, he's representing his faction, but he's also representing the Fan League 4 and maybe the fan leagues as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have Jesse, who he put the pressure on himself. He hyped himself up. He called out Chandru before when he was doing his audition, and then also when he was doing the rounds for pre-draft and stuff like that. So he was ready to kind of put a lot of pressure on himself. So that's an interesting matchup. You have Marie. She's the first Dragon Con player we've seen play. She's also the defending Dragon Con champion. So, she's representing kind of the Dragon Con players as she comes into this. And now Sean is kind of representing the old guard Schmoedown players. So there's some pressure there.
Yeah.
And then I feel honestly, you say they have the same record, Lady Justice and Vinny, They are kind of in the same place. There was a lot of hype when they came in. They did well, and then they also didn't do as well. And so it kind of feels like a few years ago when Chance went up against Janine at the live event to start the season. They were kind of in the same place. It's kind of who won, and Chance had a big, huge win, kind of sparked his whole season. So this is definitely an opportunity to kind of send a message. This is where I'm at. This is who I am in the Schmoedown. I'm going to get my team these points, but also look out. I'm going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I think each one of them have an opportunity to do that in their own divisions. So it's super exciting. I think if you had to pick a winner, let's start with the Amaru and Jesse Swift match. Who do you got in that match?
This is no shots fired, no heat to anyone. I'm super sorry, my dude Jesse, but the only reason why I'm picking Amaru for this one is because that's the only game tape that I've seen. If there's game tape out there on Jesse, I'm super sorry I have not seen it yet. But I've seen Amaru, and I've seen him do really well. So I'm following the hype right here, and I'm just on this hype train for that one. What about you, Billy?
I honestly, I've talked to Jesse a lot more. I haven't even got a chance to really talk to Amaru at all. And I really like everything that I've talked to Jesse about. I really like Jesse. I think Jesse, there's way more pressure on Amaru than there is on Jesse. I think Jesse's coming in feeling loose, feeling good, feeling ready. And I think Amaru, there's the pressure of being the number 2 pick. You got to set the tone for your team. You're representing the fan leagues. We've seen fan league players that came in with a lot of hype. Some of them performed amazingly well, and some of them kind of fizzled out, and we never heard from them again. So I'm going to lean towards Jesse in this one, I think. I'm going to go with Jesse. Also, he's my boy, And he got robbed. He got robbed on Schmoedown. Now it's like lit the fire under him. He's not going to let it happen 2 times in a row.
Yep.
He's coming in hot. He is an enigma. Jesse Swift in the chat says no game tape. I am an enigma. Which for all you IT fans out there, that's the name of the Riddler.
Give him the belt, folks. Give him the belt.
That's right. I got some space on my wall right here. Look real nice with my IG belt. Yeah, right.
I love it.
But let's move on to the second match of the week. Marie Wilson, the marvelous Marie Wilson versus Sean the Saint Sullivan. Danny, I'm going to make you pick who you got.
This is anyone that watches this knows me and knows that I always choose with my heart here, buddy. That's what I do. I understand the logistics of the game, and I understand that there are a lot of things that you can look at, different optics that you can look at to make your decision, but I will never bet against my friends. I just can't. And I just can't bet against Sean Sullivan. So I'm rooting for Sean. I really hope that Sean pulls it through. I believe that he's got a good faction behind him to help him through. And, we've seen Laura Kelly kind of dipping her toe into some corruption stuff. So you never know if Laura Kelly's helping out Sean Sullivan behind the scenes. So I got to go with Sean just because I'm super sorry to Marie. I'm super sorry.
Here's the thing. All right. We've not seen Marie Wilson. She could be marvelous. She could be the Dragon Con champion. This ain't Dragon Con. This is the Schmoedown. All right. There was another Dragon Con champion who came into the Schmoedown. He didn't win his first match. No. He lost to Sam Whitwer. His name's Alex Damon. All right. So if Alex Damon can lose his first match, then I know anybody else can lose their first match. I will never bet against my boy Sean the Saint Sullivan. We're his favorite after show.
Yes.
Sorry,
We're
POV.
his favorite after show.
Sorry, POV.
It's canon. Billy Belford said it. It's
Sorry, POV.
canon.
Completely unbiased
Sean
opinion.
Sullivan's favorite after show is called Actions.
That's right. 100%. I'm definitely picking my boy Sean Sullivan for that one.
Yeah.
And the third match of the week, before we get into the Patreon match, we have a Lady Justice herself, Marisol McKee, versus Vinny, the Ice Pick, Mancuso. Danny, I'm gonna go first on this one. I think I'll go.
Okay, I'll let you go first. Okay, Billy, I will definitely give you the honor.
So this is definitely the one that's the most interesting one to me. I think this one is going to be. Man, again, it's like all the pressure's on Marisol because of the trade, because of you got to show your worth 2 picks, even though it's not really 2 picks. People keep saying that. It's only 1 pick, and it's not even really 1 pick. I think being back home at Corruption, working with the people, there's nothing but winners at Corruption. All they do is win. All they do is win, no matter what. We saw what Laura came out and did to start the season. Not picking Marisol. Are you kidding me? Ice pick. Sorry, buddy. I'm sure you got some great answers, but again, it's going to come down to wheel spins and things like that. But I got Marisol.
Yeah. I also am going with Marisol. It's a no-brainer for me. I again, that's not just necessarily because she's a good friend of the podcast, good friend, but definitely I think that she is working with a faction that is helpful. I think her being with Adam Collins, working with Adam Collins as a team, she's got a lot of good knowledge behind her, and then she's got Mike Kalinowski and Chance there to help her with any Intergeekdom knowledge, and that's not knocking anything that's on Swag. It's exciting to see Vinny Mancuso on Swag because it's exciting. I like Winston Marshall as a manager, and y'all know me. I am a Swag girl. Drip, drip, y'all. You knew it was coming at some point, no matter what. But as much as it pains me to go against anyone with Swag, I do have to go with Marisol for this match, just because I believe that she is trying to prove that she was worth whatever pick that it was, and prove it for Corruption. That's one thing that you can definitely say about every member of Corruption is they are playing for their faction. They are definitely playing for themselves because they are great players, and because they're great players, they know that they can play well enough to play for their faction. And I think that is definitely something to be afraid of. And that's why Sean Sullivan shouldn't be underestimated either. But I am definitely going with Marisol for this one. And but I don't think it's going to be an easy match. I think it's going to go back and forth. I really do think it's going to go back and forth, and it's going to be a nail biter of a match. And that's why I'm super excited about this. This is a great match to get. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I feel like it's already started, and I feel like this is going to be 2021 is the year of the ladies in Schmoedown. This is going to be a huge year for ladies. I think ladies might hold all the belts by the end of the season.
Oh, I hope so.
Mara's already got the IG belt. Laura has she just went perfect. So she has a definite shot. Also, I think the other thing that people don't realize is that in the new championship format benefits, I think it benefits Laura because she got smashed in the speed round by Alex Damon. You can't smash anybody in this speed round anymore.
I like this.
You got players like Lady Justice. Her and Adam Collins are immediately a threat for the team's titles. You got players like Liz Shannon Miller that could win the singles title. I mean, this is the year of the ladies, everybody. You got Stacey Howard who can knock off champions at any, former champions at any minute. So I'm excited.
I like it. Big spicy words from Belford. I like it.
I love my ladies, that's how it works.
Get it,
but let's get into the final match of the week, the Patreon match. This is going to be available to $10 subscribers. Patreon.com/Schmoedown. We have a grudge match, a little bit of a grudge match, I guess. It's a little bit of a knockdown, drag out fight. We got this little one here, the singles number one contender match. The Snyder, Jeff Snyder versus Dangerous Dan Murrell. This one feels big fight. This feels huge. I mean, the Schmoedown is just coming in hot to start the season with just match after match after match that is just feels like it could be the number one match at a live event. And this one definitely feels like that. What are you thinking, Danny?
100%. This match can easily be a sold-out live event on its own, just from that card by itself. Jeff Snyder versus Dan Murrell. We've heard Jeff Snyder say it forever that he won't call Dan Murrell the GOAT unless Dan Murrell beats him. So this is a GOAT match right here. I think after this, if Jeff Snyder beats Dan Murrell, Jeff Snyder will absolutely go around letting everyone know that he is the GOAT. And then I think if Jeff Snyder loses to Dan Murrell, he will easily be able to say Dan Murrell is the GOAT. and then the GOAT debate will officially be settled after this match. So I'm very much looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where, I mean, Murrell is still right now is the GOAT because Murrell's won singles and teams. The only one right now that really is close to Murrell is Roca, because Roca's won singles and teams, and he's won teams with multiple people. And then you got people like Rachel Cushing, who won teams IG, had a singles title shot. I'm always for like Mike Kalinowski, I think has said it, like, you can't be the GOAT unless you played in like every division, or at least more than, at least 3 divisions. So, and I don't consider like playing in singles and teams really isn't playing in more than one division. It's the same question pool, just in a different format. It's sometimes it's hard. Don't jinx it. Matt Limpicki says, "Don't jinx it for the ladies, Billy." I'm trying not to jinx it. All right, I'm just saying. I'm just saying that
he's trying to will it into existence.
The ladies.
Yeah, he's willing it into existence.
So right now, really, neither one of them can by that criteria, neither one of them could necessarily be the GOAT. Like, I mean, you got people like Alex Damon, who's played in IG and Star Wars. You got Rachel Cushing, who's played in singles teams in IG. She's won the IG title. She's won the teams title. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it's hard to say which is harder to win, the singles or teams title. Like, it feels like the singles title is super hard to win,
right?
But teams title, like, it requires not only you can't carry yourself to a title. Like, right. You have to have a partner who works well with you, who you know, and who you work well with to win a teams title. So winning that, those are kind of like, but those are the GOATs. And I love Snyder, though, saying that he'll never call Murrell the GOAT until he wins. Because, yeah, Murrell won the teams title, but he didn't beat Snyder for it. And and Snyder beat the team that knocked off Murrell. So it's kind of like, that's where I feel like that's always how like Snyder's like head works. And like he has like this math of like, Dan never beat me, and I beat this person who beat that person who beat Dan. So clearly I'm the best.
I absolutely agree with you on that one, 100%.
Yeah, and also this is a big opportunity for these teams as well, because if the dungeon wins, that's like they already have the big win from Mara. Now you're just building on top of that. You're just looking at like 11 points in the first 2 weeks. Like that's pretty impressive. That's pretty good. Rockstars, this is their first match, I think, so it's try to get off the snide. You don't want to fall too far behind this early on. Like, you can't win it in the first few weeks, but you can lose it in the first few weeks. There were some teams last year that fell behind early and struggled to get back into it. So I definitely think that it has a lot of implications for the standings as a whole.
Yeah, I do too. I think also with the way, last year was a lot of growing pains in a lot of ways. A lot of unexpected things had to happen last year. So losing matches and losing the momentum of matches for 2020 was kind of rough. And I think that's what 2021 is going to change a lot with the number of matches that we have coming out. I think it's going to give these teams or these factions a better opportunity to earn more points. It's also going to give a lot more players more opportunities to be seen, even though now that we've gotten used to this digital format a little bit better and know how to kind of maneuver it and handle it. And now that we have access to players from all over the place, it's going to be great to be able to have this visibility for people and have that opportunity for factions to get those points, get more points in the season than we did last year. And especially with I know that we're going to talk about some of the point changes and stuff like that in just a bit, but so I'll wait to talk about that until we get to that part.
Yeah, and specifically to this match, you got Dan, who he had a weird year last year because he won the title. He carried the title, through the whole season. They won the team's title. They carried those for quite a while. But anytime your season ends where you don't want to be, it doesn't feel as good as it should, because Dan loses the belt at Spectacular. Him and Roca break up. He's now with a new faction. I think he's in a better place maybe for Dan. But there's a lot of like moving parts. Jeff Snyder's back with the Rockstars. He's back home where honestly he belongs. He's with Roxy. We know they're dynamic. They work extremely well together. Roxy gets the best out of Jeff Snyder. Remember, Roxy has now managed Jeff Snyder to a singles title shot, which he lost to Paul Oyama, but probably should have beat Paul Oyama.
Lots of debate on that one.
Such a weird match that one was. But she got him to a title shot. She's now managed him to 2 teams titles and has managed him now to another singles number 1 contender. And he was the finalist in the singles tournament last year, which was further than he'd ever gone before. So clearly Roxy and Jeff Snyder is like, lamb and tuna fish.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing to note about Jeff Snyder and Dan Murrell as players. I think Dan Murrell is the type of player that needed to go to a different manager to kind of figure out where he can thrive and who he can thrive with. It's not that Tom Dagnino isn't a bad manager. It's just Dan Murrell is still needing to find someone that will support him in a way that Gucci obviously didn't in the last season. And Jeff Snyder is someone who definitely needs that support and comfort that he's known and that he's used to. And Roxy knows how to do that for him because they know each other so well. They've worked together for so long, and Roxy is that type of manager that is very nurturing to her players. And Jeff Snyder is a big tough guy, and Roxy knows how to handle that. And I think that's really important. That's why they're both at their best game, I think, at this point in time. And that's why this match is going to be so much fun to watch.
Oh, 100%. Ross Bristow in the chat asks, do you see anyone holding all the belts at once? Do you mean faction or person? Faction, maybe. Person, never.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything right now. I do feel like that's something that I would like to see. I don't think that it's not possible. I don't want to say that it's not impossible, but I do know that working to go from the singles division to the Inner Geekdom division feels like it could be such a heavy sort of mind switch in types of studying and types of gameplay. I think that going for the belt in the same season, especially now with the amount of gameplay that's going to have to happen, then I just feel like it's a little bit harder than what it could have been before. But I don't want to put it out. I don't want to say no forever. I hope so, because I think that would be fun.
I think the person who probably has the best chance to do it is Dan, because we know Dan can win the singles title. We know with the right partner, he could win the team's title. He's done both of those. He wants to play an IG. He's an IG kind of guy.
And Mara's there to coach him for that type of difference. Right. If there's any sort of difference of gameplay, Mara's there to help.
And the thing is we know that Dan, the thing about winning the Schmoedown, and it's what I always say, I say this all the time, and I'm going to die on this hill. The Schmoedown is not about just what you know. It's what you can recall. Mm-hmm. We know Dan can recall what he knows, and that's the biggest key. I would say, honestly, probably the 2 biggest threats would be it's probably Dan. I mean, it's really just Dan. Dan's probably the only one. Maybe Bateman. Yeah. Maybe Bateman, because Bateman is just a freak who likes to study and likes to do that sort of thing.
He only needs 60 days, and then he can definitely get into the Star Wars division and make sure that he can get the belt in there. So there's also that option for an extra belt on his shoulder.
Ferris Muthana, my boy in the chat. Ferris killing it this week, all on running that LGR when some of his compatriots were unable to be on the show.
We love
crushed it on with some short notice guests, doing awesome stuff as always. Cushing had a shot. I mean, I will say Cushing.
100%. I agree. I think so. I definitely, absolutely agree with that. I think she did.
especially at the time when Cushing had her shot, that was a time when like you could have done it because she had her shot against I think it was Sam was her singles title shot, which was a difficult match, but she was competitive. It's not like she got blown out.
Right.
She was winning. She had shots to win the team's title, and she won it with the Shire Wolves. She won the IG title. So the only one she didn't really come close to winning was Star Wars because she never competed in it. And I'm sorry to anybody who this is not to knock the Star Wars division in any way, shape, or form. It is easier to go from a non-Star Wars competitor to a Star Wars competitor than anything else because there are only X number of movies, and if you have nothing else to do, and I've said this is where I agree with that fool Ben Bateman who says a lot of dumb things, but hashtag 60 days. If you had 60 days to do nothing else, where all you did was wake up and watch the Star Wars movies and study the Star Wars movies, and you were a trivia person anyway, that's the other thing, is your brain doesn't have to click off the recall and things like that. You could compete in the Star Wars division and at a high level. You're not going to win Dragon Con in 60 days. That's crazy. But to compete in the Schmoedown in 60 days, like especially if we're not taking somebody off the street and making them into a Star Wars competitor in 60 days. We're taking a Schmoedown competitor who is used to answering questions in the Schmoedown. Like they could compete in the Star Wars division if they completely devoted themselves to nothing else but Star Wars.
The competitor that I have in mind whenever you're saying that is someone like John Roca. John Roca, who is way more into Star Wars than Ben Bateman is. At least that's what I can gather from anything that I know about them. I feel like John Roca knows way more right now at this point in time. John Roca knows way more than Ben Bateman in Star Wars. If John Roca was trying to go into the Star Wars division, I think I kind of agree with you, Billy. I think if he really buckled down and studied because of the knowledge that he already has and because he knows how the division is played and the level of the division that it's at, he knows what it would take for him to study for that division.
Exactly.
So I do agree that I do think that someone from another division can go into the Star Wars division. Do I think that they're going to knock out players like Alex Damon and Laura Kelly? No, I do not. But I absolutely do agree that it does seem a little bit easier. It does seem like it would be easier, especially for players who love Star Wars, who have already been fans of the franchise and know a lot of
That's the thing, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely, I do 100% agree.
If you're in the Schmoedown competing, especially at a high level in the Schmoedown, you love movies.
Yeah,
and if you love movies,
and
chances are
you know how to play the game.
Yeah, exactly. That you don't have to learn that aspect, and you love movies. You probably love Star Wars already. I'm guarantee you, Dan Murrell and any Schmoedown.
Mara's talked about
competitor. Star Wars. What's that?
Mara's talked about going into Star Wars.
It's announced she's a Star Wars competitor this season. So, I mean, there you go. Anybody who loves the Schmoedown or who competes in the Schmoedown, they probably know more about Star Wars than your average person already. So the base is more than likely going to be there. Like, they could answer the 1-point question. Well, they could get a lot of the 1-point questions correct, probably. The first round questions. It's when you get into round 2 and round 3 that it starts getting difficult, and then when it gets into round 5, any 5-round match is always tough, just because it's a war of attrition. But I mean, it's just because of the amount of knowledge that you have to know is it's weird. It's a weird thing because the amount of knowledge that you have to know is less, but the type of knowledge that you have to know is so much more in depth. Because I mean, like for Star Wars division, like if you don't own the scripts to like every movie, you're not studying correctly. Because you should be studying the scripts. So to see what's in the script to say like what the set design kind of stuff is, so you know everything there is to know. Because there's stuff that gets asked that doesn't show up.
The visual directories and the visual encyclopedias and stuff like that. You have to use those to study. Everyone knows that you have to use those to study. So I'm super sorry to do this to you, Billy. I am super sorry to do this to you, Billy, but I am going to scamper off really quickly to the rest shall return.
No worries. It's now the Belford show. It's Belford Live. You're here watching me, Belford Live. But as I was saying, with the Star Wars division, we're going full screen, guys. We're going full screen for this, all right? If you don't own those like visual directories, because there are things that literally are like a frame on screen. It's not like that you have to know. And that's the difficulty of the Star Wars division. That's the kind of thing that you have to prepare yourself for. But again, if you are a Schmoedown competitor, you probably love Star Wars. You probably you could study. Maybe not 60 days, but an adequate amount of time. You could become a competitive Star Wars player, and maybe even you could attack. I'm just gonna do some shout outs right now. Jake Iacovetta in the chat says that's not Jake Iacovetta. Where'd you go, Jake Iacovetta? There we go. Jake Iacovetta says this is way too much solo billing. All right, we'll go back to the side by side. That's not the side by side I want. There we go. There's never too much. Shout outs to Wes and Ira. We always see you in here. Star Drew, love seeing you as always. PLD can go somewhere. Yes, I am to 11 at all times, but especially today. John Lestrina is in the chat. John Lestrina, we were talking Star Wars, and then Danny had to go off screen for a moment. Shout out to Ross Bristow, Danny Cost, Alan Smithy, the director. Salute to you, sir. Matt Limpicki, am I saying that right? If I'm not saying your name right, guys, it's not that I don't care. Just let me know. Ferris Muthana, Danny Cost like Lost, Nat Vu, my boy. It's for the boys. And everyone else, Ben Raider, thanks for joining us as always. If I missed anybody, Brian Nussbaum, I love you, brother. I think that's it. Leo Logan, shout outs to as many. Peggy Gubbins in the chat, loving it. But yeah, all right. So getting back to it. All right, so Danny.
Hi, hello.
Now is the time for the question.
Okay.
Who wins between Jeff Snyder and Dangerous Dan Murrell?
I have to go with Dan on this one. I'm just gonna stay on that hype wagon right there. Also, I have to stay with Dan. I think Dan is definitely on the route back to the belt. I think it would be very exciting to see Collins Murrell Part 2. That would be a lot of fun. So I am rooting for Dan for this one. Sorry. But I think it would be a very interesting story. I think it would be a lot of fun and very interesting if Jeff does win and does get that shot at that.
This is a tough one. This is like, because you got the dungeon with Dan Murrell. Still weird to say that.
I know, yeah, but I love it.
And we love the dungeon. We stand the dungeon. Sometimes we're a dungeon podcast.
Yes, I ordered my hoodies. I ordered 2 hoodies. One of them is a dungeon hoodie, and I'll let you all guess what the other hoodie is that I ordered from Skybound. You just take one random guess if you can figure out what the other hoodie that I got was. That is definitely one.
Does it drip a lot? But we also love the rock stars. Roxy was famously the manager of our podcast in a knockdown drag out fight that we easily won and cast people to the oblivion. Mm-hmm. I just love Jeff Snyder so much. Like, Jeff Snyder is like my boy. Like, I think he's hilarious. We're gonna talk later in a little bit about like funniest moments in the Schmoedown, and like Jeff Snyder has some of like the funniest moments. I love the way he acts. I love the way he carries himself. I love the cockiness. I love the belief in himself. I also love like the when he doesn't believe in himself, and Roxy has to like pick himself off the ground. Like, so it's like
100%.
I think Dan's gonna win, but I really, really want. I really want Jeff to win.
Yeah,
man.
I think it would be a better story if Jeff wins.
I kind of hope that this is like one of the storylines of the season is like Jeff versus Dan, I hope they play each other in teams. Like that would really be interesting. And I honestly think that Dan, like let's say it's Dan and Ben, I don't think they're favored in that match because Mark Andreyko owns Ben Bateman's lunchbox, and Jeff Snyder's not afraid of anybody. So like,
damn, big words from Belford right there. That's interesting. I love it.
Hey, look at the standings.
Look at the standings is what he said. I do want to point out this from Brittany Parker. What's up, girl? Dang right. Roxy is manager of the year in our hearts, too. That is absolutely right. To the rock stars out there, we love a big Roxy Stryer. We are big Roxy Stryer.
We stand Roxy Stryer more maybe than anybody else.
Yeah,
like that is. Did I use that right? Is that how the kids say it these days?
Did. I think you did a great job at the standing.
Dean Morgan, I will never get tired of shirtless Jeff. Shirtless Jeff can be.
Yes, to get back onto that subject, Dean Morgan is right. I'm never tired of shirtless Jeff either. I do think it would be a better story for Jeff Snyder to win. It would be so much fun to get that. I think Jeff has worked very hard, and I'm not counting Jeff out at all. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff won. I think that would be so much fucking fun, and I would absolutely 100% cheer my ass off if Jeff Snyder wins this match. I don't want Jeff Snyder to lose. I think he's worked very hard for this. He has been a player that I have always believed in throughout, like with what Billy was saying also in the earlier years when Jeff Snyder was kind of moving away from the Patriots and kind of working his way as a singles player. In my opinion, Jeff Snyder was always the one who carried the Patriots. I know I've watched matches now, and JTE was definitely a really great player also inside of the league. But whenever I was watching at the time, in my opinion, it was Jeff Snyder that was carrying that. And I always believed in Jeff Snyder. I always have. Check the tapes. Go check the tapes. I've always been a Jeff Snyder fan. Go
hashtag check the tapes.
Hashtag check the tapes. So I definitely do believe that Jeff Snyder can pull off a win, and I think it would be a much better and interesting story if he does win. But again, I think Dan is trying to get that belt back, and I think a hungry Dan is a dangerous Dan.
Well done, well played. The dangerous Dan, yes.
Yeah. That was yes.
Here's the thing, like of the OG players who have been here the longest and have never left, never taken time off, Jeff is the one he's never won the singles belt. And as good as he's been in teams, I mean, he's won teams belt with 2 different teams. He's on his 3rd reign. He's still the longest defending champion in teams. Like, he is the team's GOAT, nobody comes close. And it's the same question pool. So is it like, it's funny you're talking about him and JTE, but when him and JTE kind of have like a similar relationship, or not relationship, but the perception of them is kind of similar to like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, and again, Boston guys, so it works extremely well. Like they were a pairing, and then people kind of like had this perception that one of them was better than the other, that like Affleck was going to be the star and Damon was not. And then Affleck fell off, and people were like, "Oh well, Damon must be the star, and Affleck's not the star." And then Affleck started winning like Oscars for directing and making all these amazing movies, and people were like, we don't know which one's the star. And I feel like that's kind of like how it is with Snyder and JTE. People thought, oh, well, Snyder's just carrying JTE. But then JTE was like going to like singles tournament finals and like knocking off big names in the Schmoedown. So people were like, oh, no, it's JTE. Yeah, but then now Snyder's winning more titles again. So it's like, it is a lot of Boston. Weston Iro in the chat. Yes, that's a lot of Boston, but we're talking Jeff Snyder, so it's appropriate.
I always try to do a Boston accent. I can't do a Boston accent. That's a lot of Boston in here. I can't.
You just got to say "Park the car in Harvard Yard." Like that's how you get
car in Harvard Yard.
That's the best Boston accent you've ever done for sure, 100%.
I got him. Sign me up, folks.
Oh, but yeah. So I think we both have Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder's gonna win. That's how we hedge our bets. Yep. We got Dan Snyder winning, or we got Jeff Murrell winning. One or the other.
Yes, it's going to be Jeff Murrell or Dan Snyder. I absolutely agree with you. I think Dan Snyder is going to be the one that takes this 100%. So.
Somebody, I think it was Dean Morgan, was in the chat, and he asked, or he said, I don't know how much Jeff will study the new categories. Let me tell you right now, he's not going to study the new categories at all. That's not Jeff Snyder. Jeff Snyder's never studied any of the new categories anytime they have added categories to the wheel. And that's why Jeff Snyder is capable of beating anyone in the Schmoedown with it, because he has so much knowledge about movies, because he's worked in the movie business for so long. If he catches the right categories, the right wheel slices, the right whatever. But he's also capable of getting blown out by people if he doesn't spin the right wheel slices. You know, Bibiani famously beat him into submission when he got classics or whatever. So it's interesting. Jeff lets slip he does study now on Chill. Yeah, okay. I mean, we'll believe it when we see it.
I can test to that. That is fact. What was I going to say? I had a point and I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry. I got distracted. Now I don't. I got distracted by Paul's comment in the chat. Sorry. And now I forgot what I was saying. But okay, keep going, Billy. Sorry.
So I think the other thing, though, speaking of categories, the one thing so Dan has now been a teammate with Ben Bateman for over a year, and now they are still faction mates working together. So they of course they're studying together, they're doing things together, they talk strategy, they do things together.
It's not confirmed that they're teammates, though, right?
I mean, it's like 70-30. What else is it going to be? Like.
It's a great idea for a team. Absolutely. It's a powerhouse team. Why wouldn't you put Dan Murrell?
I can't imagine that you sign both of them but in the free agency to not have them be a team. It's like, but they're definitely working together. And when it comes to wheel slices, Ben Bateman uses the wheel like a carving knife. Like, he cuts people up with the wheel. Because what he will do is he will weaponize categories in the wheel. So things that, like Harry Potter or the animated, things that Jeff doesn't like or isn't going to be as strong at, Dan is going to, study the crap out of those, put them on the wheel in the hopes that either Snyder hits it or he hits it or it's, whatever. So that's one thing. It's the wheel. I think this match does come down to the wheel. I imagine it's going to be very close in round one. I think one of them will take the lead in round two, and that's probably going to be the person that wins it. And I think it comes down to a 5-point question. I'm not I think Dan wins, but I think it's tough. I think it's not going to be an easy match. But yeah, so we both have Dan.
I don't think it's going to be an easy match either. I think it's going to go all the way down to the third round, and it's going to be very fun and exciting, and we're all going to have a good time.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. The big winners for sure. It's going to be us. That's for sure. Because win or lose, that's the beauty of the Schmoedown. Win or lose, or no matter who wins, there's going to be so much to dissect from this match, because it's going to be tension filled, and like Jeff's going to try to use some antics to get at Dan. And that's another thing. I think that kind of the fact that it's not in studio benefits Dan, because Jeff has historically used bits and used antics to get in people's heads and to kind of bother people. And we have seen that Dan can be rattled at least once. We saw it with our boy Drew Guy. Like, it doesn't happen often or really ever, and it's not going to happen because they're remote, but it's still going to be a great match.
I agree.
Oh, so that's the matches for this week. Let us know, in the comments or in the chat who you guys think are going to be winning these matches. Which match are you most looking forward to? Obviously, come on, it's Dan and Snyder. It was Murrell, ring rust is never allowed to be used as an excuse ever again. Yeah. Mara took 2 years off and crushed it, so get that rusty thing out of here.
I do agree. I'm not sure if I'm frozen. I'm frozen on my end. Hold on. Can you hear me?
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Okay,
You're moving.
I do agree with that at some point, because I've heard Christian Harloff talk about it before, and I do agree that the game did change a little bit. That type of intimidation factor that Andrew Guy was bringing to the table, Dan Murrell was not used to that, and just I've heard Christian Harloff say it a bunch of times, and I've heard Dan reference it also. Like, Harloff told him that Andrew Guy was nothing to worry about, and Andrew Guy had a great game. He played a great game and brought that level of gameplay that the Schmoedown evolved into. So I do agree. Maybe not trivia rusty. I don't think Dan Murrell was trivia rusty in that match, but I do believe that the game was different at the time when Dan came back, and a big shock to the system, and honestly, that was a great time. That was a great match to watch.
Oh, it was amazing. Still my favorite match of all time.
Absolutely.
Who is it? That's not. Guy had the high ground. He did once he jumped on the table. Morgan said, Dan was out of his head. He didn't study like Mara did. I don't think it's not like Andrew Guy was like studying every this is that match. That match is actually the turning point of kind of like the Schmoedown, because prior to that match it was show up, and if you know more than the other person, you're gonna win. Just show up, and so like if you're Dan, you're gonna show up and you're gonna beat somebody. That wasn't a fluke. That wasn't like Andrew Guy getting lucky in the sense of like flip of a coin lucky. That was that showed that if you don't get lucky in the sense of like wheel spin and things like that, anybody can beat anybody. Mm-hmm. Because the match is close at the end of round one, so it's not like suddenly Andrew Guy had like a huge chance to win. It's the wheel spin. It's that Dan maybe got a little cocky and thought there's no wheel slice that I can't get through. I also think the one thing that Dan did in that match was maybe he didn't take his time a few times, especially in round two, where he thought he knew the answer right away and maybe didn't think it through, which kind of shows that's why I always will say that the Ben Bateman technique, and God, I hate Ben Bateman, but the Ben Bateman technique of wait until they count it all the way down. Like, think about it as much as possible. Like, take the time that you're allotted, and that is kind of.
That's the crazy thing about the Schmoedown is we've seen these strategies, how they've evolved, including the JTE rule. JTE sometimes clearly using the judges to repeat a question to take a little bit more time evolved into a rule, and Ben Bateman using this sort of fake out turned into a strategy for people to use, not only as an intimidation factor, but as a self-reminder to take your time and sit back and listen. Go ahead and take it all the way down to the very last second for your peace of mind to do it. And you know what? Sometimes it's going to piss people off whenever you do it, because it happens. So.
Yeah, Christian told Dan that his grandmother could beat Guy. Yeah, and that's the crazy. Yeah. And see, this is the thing that gets me about that. Like, that was like.
Someone put the Belford timer on. That's what we got to find for it now.
Yeah, all right. But that's like the thing. Like, anybody can beat anybody if the wheel goes the right way, because it's not like. I wouldn't say anybody can beat anybody in Star Wars. Because Star Wars is that specific knowledge. It's like who knows more. And it's not really like finding holes in your knowledge. It's finding like these like crazy things that you just don't remember right away. IG, there's like you can find little holes in people's knowledge. In singles and teams, there's big holes in people's knowledge. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Dan Murrell, William Bibiani, the people who we think of as like the knowledge goats, the Drew McWeenies, they know the Ethan Irwins, they know everything about movies. They still have holes in it. If you can find it, you can beat them. Anybody can beat anybody on that one. Yeah,
Ethan Irwin famously doesn't watch animated movies. Lots of people that don't watch animated movies, but in the same turn, there's also what a lot of people used to call Makuga magic, and that guessing of an answer that can completely turn the game around. Look at competitors like Stacey Howard. So that just goes back to how it can be anyone's game at any time, just because of the way that the game is set up. So 100%.
Yeah. All right, we're going to move along here. So we did get some news this week. They announced Christian Harloff tweeted it out that we are getting the free for all. Everybody, it's back. Whoop, 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 whoop. April 24th, 40 competitors, which means
40.
If it is, we're getting 5 per faction. It's very exciting news. I'm super excited for it. They actually have some new sort of like technology that they're using that's going to allow them to like switch people in and out easier and like not have to worry about like everyone linking to OBS and all that sort of stuff. So that's really exciting.
I feel I don't know if never mind. Actually, I don't know. Never mind.
But yeah, we are excited. Free for all 4. I mean, every free for all is the like if spectacular is like the granddaddy of them all, free for all is the most fun. Like free for all is the most like we love free for all. We love the entrances, we love the moments, we love the matchups, we love the little storylines that get perpetuated in free for all, that get started in free for all, the little rivalries that are rekindled and that are expanded upon. Man, free for all is just the best. I love free for all so much. Danny, are you excited for free for all?
I am very excited, and I also know that we very much love our friend Ferris Muthana for the super chat donation. Thank you so much, Ferris. We really, really appreciate it. He says hello. So big shout out to Ferris.
That's Ferris. That's so Ferris. Oh my gosh, I love him.
I am so excited for free for all. Free for all is going to be a big time fun. This is kind of like what's the man? I can't think of the wrestling.
The Royal Rumble.
The Royal Rumble. There we go. It's like the Royal Rumble for the Schmoedown, and it's a lot of fun because you do get to see it. I know that there's a little bit of controversy with the way that the MVP point system is going. MVPs only get 1 point. Is that correct?
So the MVP, so they originally announced, when they first announced it, they said that the winner is going to get 3 points and a title shot, which the title shot is the traditional free-for-all award. Mm-hmm. Then they announced, somebody asked if the MVP was going to get anything. So they did announce that the MVP was going to get 1 point. And then they also came back and said that the winner does not get the 3 points, that they just get the title shot, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like we were talking before the show, it's not like if you win a number 1 contenders match. It's not like Snyder versus Murrell. If Murrell wins, they're not going to be like, well, you get a chance at 7 points, so you don't get the points from winning this match. I thought 3 points is perfect. I thought it was like the right amount. It's not a normal match. There is a lot of luck involved historically. Nobody picked before. I think Murrell's the earliest winner. Like everyone else has been a late. Like Sam Levine came in late. Brianne Chandler came in pretty late. Dan came in fairly late. Like, but I think Dan was the earliest. So it's not like, I mean, Bibiani famously went from number 1 to the end, but still didn't win. So like, you are favored if you come in later. But you are and you aren't. Like you still got to know things. You still got to know more than somebody else. Bibiani's still going to try to clear you off the table, or you know, any of these other heavy hitters. Drew McQueenie is back in the Schmoedown, and free for all is like his sort of game where it's just answering 1 point questions for the most part, and he can get those right all day. So we think it's 5 per faction because it's 40. That would be 8 factions, 40 points. Some people. Talking about it in the chat. Yeah, like Star Drew says, it's like maybe unfair, but again, it's the question of like, it is an interesting thing because if you come in number 1, it's the hardest thing to do to win the free for all. Mm-hmm. To go through everybody else to win. If you come in at number 40 and you win the free for all, like, do you deserve points? So it's like, it's almost like, like, should there be points for like, you know, whatever you do in the free, every round you survive, should you get a point? Like,
Right. So I think the only way that I can look at it, and this is just from like someone who I don't even want to say that someone who doesn't really watch sports, but not because it doesn't fucking matter. Never mind. Disregard what I just said about that. But the only way that I can see how this makes sense to me is that it's a free for all. It's not matches. So the matches are where you're going to get the faction points for what counts overall, and the free for all is an event that works in a different sort of way, not in the same way that matches get you points. So I can kind of, because at this, it's part of the rules that we've also seen is what they're going to try to get rid of and really try to make sure that doesn't happen, or are guaranteed faction points, where at the end of where it's going to be two people from the same faction playing against each other in a match, and then automatically points are going to go to a faction. So I feel like that's kind of a big reason why free for all could be pointed the way that it is pointed to, because there is a big probability that the MVP and the winner of the free for all could be from the same faction. It would be unfair.
Or the same person.
Or the same person, right? And then doubling up on those points. So I think trying to figure out the point system is really where it's coming down to. Free for all is a fun event that we all still get to watch, and we're all so accustomed to the free for all being having the level of point system that it's had forever. And just to kind of go back to what Christian Harloff has been saying for quite some time now, is just to kind of sit back and watch the show. This show has been evolving and it's changing and new things are happening, and let the free-for-all be its own separate thing that we don't have to worry about with these faction points and these set factions. That's the only way that it's making sense in my mind, in my opinion, that would be the reason to change the point system, which seems to be the biggest drama inside of the free-for-all. I understand, and that would be the reason to not give a reward to an MVP, is because the free-for-all shouldn't matter for the faction points. The free-for-all should be the separate, really huge, fun event that happens, that we get to participate in, and there. That's it. That's
it's also like it's because the other thing is, like, you're only answering first round. It's all first round questions. It's all 1 point questions. So it's when you earn faction points, you answer first round questions, second round questions, third round questions, so it does make sense, I guess, as I think about it, that, it shouldn't be worth any points, because either you answered, 40 rounds worth of first round questions, which is an impressive feat of stamina, especially if you're standing the whole time, William Bibbiani. Yes. But you're still just answering first round questions, and William Bibbiani can answer first round questions all day long. And it does suit certain players more than others. There are players who have that cursory knowledge of every movie that's ever made, and they are the free-for-all beasts. It's the William Bibbianis, the Ethan Irwins, the Dan Murrells, the John, even Roca's gone kind of deep in free-for-alls before. Actually, not really, but those, the Drew McQueenies, but it's because they don't have to answer anything round two. There are no deep cuts. There are no, what's the color of this, or what cigarette is this person smoking? Like, the deepest cut we typically get in the free-for-all is who directed this movie, or
Yeah, and I think that we're just so accustomed to the free-for-all being this specific type of event, and it's okay for us to let it go and be another type of event that just doesn't have points that matter. And I know that a lot of people were talking about the MVP, and there should be some type of reward that goes to what William Bibbiani did, because what William Bibbiani did is nothing to talk lightly about. To last from the first round to the last round, standing in a live setting, answering multiple questions, trivial questions, regardless of how hard the questions were. I can't think of the word. How hard the questions were, regardless of how hard they were, still having to keep up that stamina. That should be like that needs to actually find its way into some real sports time Hall of Fame, because that's an amazing feat. I really do think. So
it's gonna be in the Schmoedown Hall of Fame. It's just gonna be a like a statue of William Bibiani standing at the free for all stage or whatever, like.
Yeah, we're gonna find a way to make a plaque of it and just like sneak it somewhere, like in like the actual like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame,
Pro Football Hall of Fame. Is just gonna be a statue of Bibiani.
Yes, exactly.
Like, is he a coach? No, he's a competitor.
Yes, just like that. But also, it's not stated in the MVP rules that it's the player who lasts the longest in the free-for-all is automatically the MVP. That's just what it has always kind of been. But
traditionally been, yeah.
That's what it's traditionally been, but it's never been stated that that's what the MVP is. So, and we don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to change up what's going to happen for the MVP. Just because they're not going to get points for their faction, we don't know if they're going to do anything else for that. What if that gives them a chance to like something? Why would Christian tell us what his plans are before it happens? If we're going to get some major news breaking reward for the MVP winner, for the free-for-all winner, why the fuck would Christian Harloff tell us now in the Facebook group?
Right, yeah, 100%. Well, if nothing else, there are gonna be people who are gonna make their name from the free-for-all.
Yeah.
Remember, we have a draft class full of unknowns. There's unknowns in almost every faction. Even the people who we know who they are, a player like a Marisol McKee or a Vinny Mancuso, who we've only seen him for 1 year. Like, you have a chance to make your name free. John Humphreys made his name in the free-for-all.
In a free-for-all,
like, nobody really knew who John Humphreys was as far as trivia. People knew him as the Real Rejects, but we didn't really know how good at trivia they were or not good at trivia. And here comes John Humphreys, and he's just slaying dragons left and right and lasting, so many rounds. And maybe he didn't win the MVP that year, but he for sure,
Did he win the MVP?
I don't think so. I think Bibiani won the MVP that year because he lasted the most rounds and like lasted a ton of. He lasted all the way to the end because that's when Brienne won.
Right. I don't know
John
why
Humphrey lasted a bunch of rounds, and they kind of I think they gave him like a MVP 2 or like co-MVP type thing.
Yeah, I feel like
because that's before factions and all that stuff.
Yeah, let us know if anyone remembers.
The one thing we are going to be able to speculate between now and the free-for-all is, you get 5, we think. That's the math. 8 factions, 40 spots, that's 5 per faction. So who do you pick? Who do you put in there? And the free-for-all traditionally has also been an opportunity for like returning people. We're not going to see that this year. It's just kind of bumming, but it's not the end of the world to me, especially because we want to know who some of these players are. Clearly, the Finstock Exchange has a chance to put their name all over the season. And again, it's not going to be like, so let's say you're a singles player and you're kind of considered a mid-level singles player. If you crush it in the free-for-all, Christian Harloff's going to be like, well, maybe we should put him in like some more high-profile matches. Like,
yeah, getting a shot at a high title undercard. That's a great opportunity to put you in front of a lot of faces. Yeah,
but I'm just excited we get the free-for-all again. We had the horror free-for-all last year. Now we get the free-for-all back again.
Free-for-all 4, cuatro
para la comunidad de español. Tú sabes, mi raza, mi gente.
When my niece was little, she couldn't say cuatro, so she would go 1, 2, 3, taco.
Yeah, I want 3 tacos.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna move on from the free for all. Oh, math alert from Weston Iro in the chat. Math alert. Yes, that is. We didn't tell you there would be math. We're sorry.
There's usually no math here. I was told there would be no math.
And Dean Morgan in the chat. Yes, some of us don't ever understand the decision making of Christian, but I will say it almost always pays off in the end. There's always. Yeah. Or it just fizzles out and goes away, and we never hear about it ever again. Those are the two it seems like the two options for a lot of the things.
Yeah, and it's okay. Totally fine.
We're gonna do a little preview now. This Monday for all you Call to Action fans, we have our second episode of Turn It Up to 11 with myself and Paul, the PLD Daddy, the Newsio. Brandy Parker, ¿no conoces que yo estoy bilingüe? Yo hablo español. Yo hablo español mejor que todos los gringos que están en C2A aquí en la acción de Call to Action. But yeah, so this coming Monday we have Turn It Up to 11, and it is the 11 greatest feuds in the history of the Schmoedown. We're counting them down to decide what is the greatest feud. Chat, what do you think is the greatest feud in the history of the Schmoedown? Danny, what are some of your favorite feuds?
Well, obviously, y'all know me. I'm a Team Action girl, so anything against Team Action is my favorite stuff. But definitely top 10 Team Action are my favorite feuds. I loved what we were talking about earlier, Billy, the late to the party Team Action match. That's a feud. That's a canon feud. Late to the party are mortal enemies of Team Action, so we love them very much. But they are.
Vanessa took Ben Bateman out of the free for all one year, so that's part of that feud.
That's very true. What else did I wrote down some stuff for some of my favorite feuds? AJ
Lancaster in the chat. Guy versus the digital wheel.
Oh, too soon, AJ. How dare you?
Ben Rayner with Roxy versus Shannon for the win for sure. That's a good one.
Shannon is a great one for the ages. I love that one. Oh, Roxy and Winston, that was a fun one. Winston giving Roxy the L was one of I thought was a very funny moment inside of the Schmoedown. So that was a good one.
It's a classic. Yeah. Oh. Dean Morgan, Bibbs versus Mark Andreyko.
Oh, yeah.
That's an interesting one because it's kind of like a little niche feud. It's not as
that's I feel like that's almost a deep cut because I feel like that's back in the Bibiani mask days, isn't it?
Well, that's where it started because that's Bibiani's debut where he goes perfect and beats Andreyko, which kind of like put him on the map. Most of the rest of their feud has kind of been in the either teams with the Odd Couple beating Shazam. I think they beat Shazam. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Yeah.
Oops, sorry.
And then teams match post interview. Yes, AJ Lancaster, you are right. But then also in like the horror matches, because they've kind of been dodging each other, I think, in the horror exhibition matches. So, but yeah. Weston Iro, Gucci versus Common Sense. I mean, who needs common sense when you got Gucci sense? I mean, come on.
Oh man, remember old Lion's Den? Good times.
Oh man, when they were like feuding with like everyone, like that was like honestly, Lion's Den versus Fife Club was like a feud that ended too soon. Like it didn't get the payoff that it deserved. Like, because we never got
top 10 versus Patriots. That was also a very good one.
That's a weird feud because the Patriots won every match. Like,
I mean,
you can talk all the smack in the world, but like if you're not winning matches and you're getting stomped, like top 10 got like Matt Nose went into like semi-retirement because of the way the Patriots like stomped them into oblivion.
Talking spicy about top 10 and OG Schmoedown team. Weston Iro in the chat. Roca versus the number 4. Yes, that is those feuds are always my favorite ones. Those funny ones.
Wait, that's not the one I wanted. Well, that is a good one. Fight versus the Closet.
Yes, oh my gosh.
We'll be playing with
Cameron Diaz. Oh my gosh, yes.
Ben Bateman versus family films. It's like Ben Bateman versus his childhood.
No, not his childhood, because he did not watch kid films growing up.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he never had a childhood. Oh, JT versus Spelling, Jeff versus Shirts.
Yeah, those are all very true feuds.
Oh man,
that
we got Greg Alba versus Public Utilities, Public Facilities.
Yeah.
Who needs the toilet when you can just pee on yourself on the free for all?
Coy John Drew versus the internet.
Oh my gosh, all those internet connect. Also, the kid a little bit with those internet issues, like
kid, yeah. Oh man, good times. It would be so funny if there would have been like an in memoriam for internet connections for the Schmoedown Awards. Like if it would have been just like a clip of everyone, like every
router.
Internet messed up. Wasn't there? I feel like there's video or something like that about it. Please, someone, if there is something like that, please let me know.
PLD, how dare you, PLD? How dare you? First of all, it's Robert Parker versus Gravity. That's a deep cut from a certain Atlanta Schmoedown.
I was not there, so I did not get this joke. Sorry.
But yeah, be sure you guys tune in on Monday, right here on Call to Action for Turn It Up to 11. We're gonna be counting those down. We also got this week. We got some more news that came in. They're talking maybe things are going to be opening up. We could have a spectacular in December at a live event.
Would
Danny,
you go?
how many kidneys would you sell to go to a live event?
Probably. Hopefully, I hate that we live in a system where I have to sell a kidney to go to a live event. But yeah, that could possibly be true. But yeah, I'll sell mine, and I'm sure I can find one somewhere.
I mean, I've already said that I would sell one of Kelsey's kids because I don't have any. The going rate right now is whatever a plane ticket costs to go to LA. So,
oh my goodness, yeah. I think I think it would be depending on what the state of the states look like at the time. But if everything does seem nice and easy enough and fresh to go, I would absolutely go to a live event in December.
Yeah, I would 100%. If it's safe and open and we're in a good place, I will be. I have said that the next time they have a live event, I will be at that live event. As long as they're not gonna have a live event until it's safe. So as soon as it's safe and we have live events again, I'm gonna be there.
Me too. I miss my friends.
And that is honestly that is the biggest thing. Is like
that's really like I don't like this is just an excuse to hang out with people that we know really than it is to watch matches. That's just the cherry on the top of it.
It's the organizing principle of our lives. Like we come together. We eat New York pizza. We eat tacos in Houston. We do whatever and wherever, hanging out together. There's these other people that are there that are like super famous, or not super famous, but like Schmoedown super famous. Then there's like a bunch of people who like this is the only live event they will ever be at, so they're like striving for like 2 minutes with like these people, and it's like I remember when I was like that, like when I was like, oh my god, I remember the first New York live event, and I was like, oh my god, like that's Ben Bateman. Oh my god, that's Dan Murrell. And now it's like I'm like texting Ben, like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? And like, oh, no big deal. Like,
yeah, that's definitely what's made it like different and fun in a way to talk about the Schmoedown, because you create relationships with these people sometimes because you get to know them so well at live events, and then whenever doing us having the wonderful opportunity to talk to people that are part of the Schmoedown, you also become close to them like that, and in turn it just makes it so hard to kind of root against people and really kind of blur out those character lines. But at the same time, it's so much fun to know these people and to want to root for them for those reasons. So.
100%. Jake just put this in the overlay folder.
Oh,
no. That is a great rivalry, 100%.
Yes, I have seen that one before, and that was a good one. Oh my gosh.
What a great. Yeah. The live events is like It's funny because Weston Iro in the chat says, "I'm waiting until I can tolerate people."
Yeah.
Trust me, Weston, you don't have to tolerate people. I don't tolerate people. I hate people.
Yeah.
But you'll find like your people, like us, and you're our people, so we love you. And you just come hang out with us, and you just, we ignore all the sheep, as Smithy with what the fuck was that? We ignore the sheep as we do, and we just have fun with call to action. We are Action Army, all right? We roll deep. We get call outs. The Schmoedown knows where its bread is buttered, like, so that just takes care of itself. But the army rolls together. Like,
I think really just to touch on that just for a quick second, when it comes to the Action Army, there's a lot of us that have been Schmoedown fans for a very, very long time, and have adopted the army. Even if you weren't a Team Action fan at the very beginning when Team Action started. The Action Army just kind of grew into its own little thing, and there's a lot of us that still very much follow Ben and Drew, and will always be very, very loyal to our dads, is sometimes what we like to call them. It's really funny to say that sometimes about Ben and Drew, but
yes.
It overall, what the Action Army is just a group of fans that have been able to create this relationship with each other, and it's been so nice to see, and it's been so awesome to see it grow. So that's part of what makes live events so special, is being around people that are very much like-minded like you. Like, I don't talk about Schmoedown to anyone like outside of like that door right there. Like, my mom knows, and my mom super much enjoys the Schmoedown and loves it, but like this isn't like a normal part of my conversation in everyday life. So being able to be around people that love this show just as much as I do is a great feeling, and I miss that feeling so much, and I miss my friends, and I miss Schmoedown live events. It's really hard to explain. It really is one of those you had to be there sort of things to really love and appreciate a live event.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because like I don't care like who's on the card anymore. Like, who's gonna be there doesn't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. All I know is that I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, and we're gonna go watch this thing that we all love. But the biggest thing is that we get to see everybody. Yeah, Alan Smithy, 100% hashtag Action Army. This is the beauty of the Action Army, is that it's something that was started with Ben and Drew as Team Action in the Schmoedown. There's no more Team Action in the Schmoedown. Drew's not even in the Schmoedown this season.
Yeah.
But there's still Team Action. There's still Action Army. Like, we still roll deep. We still, we add new members every day. I always say it. People don't realize they're Action Army, but you are Action Army. If you like the Schmoedown, I don't care who you like in the Schmoedown, especially now. It used to be you had to like Ben and Drew to kind of be Action Army. Now you can like whoever you want. If you want to be a dungeon head, you can be an Action Army. If you want to be, you like the Den, come be an Action Army. If you want to be wherever, because we roll deep, we roll together. It's family, Ohana means Action Army. That's what I'm saying. That's from a trash cartoon.
Absolutely right. All right.
That's from some trash cartoon, but it seems to be correct.
I hate you so much.
All cartoons are trash, guys. It's fine.
I hate it when it says.
Join our Patreon. You can force me to watch a cartoon, and I'll tell you how bad it is. Smash or trash. Justin Square, you never got your Action Army sunglasses? That's something to take up with Paul Lavernius Denuzio. I think he's the one, the quartermaster of the Action Army.
You actually should take that up. PLD.
Action Army is like the Fast and the Furious. It's like Tokyo Drift. It's really good. Peggy Gubbins, what are you talking about, Peggy Gubbins? You heard stories that was not always the case. What wasn't always the case? Expand. But all right, we're gonna move right along here. So hopefully we get those in December. So we got the new look for the managers. As far as some of the mechanics of it, and some of the the layout specifically. We got let's see here, somewhere in here I got a little. So the layout's different. how the matches are done is kind of different. We specifically said the managers aren't coming out beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think? What are your thoughts on the new look for the Schmoedown, Danny?
I like it. I like it a lot. I think I like the layout. I like where Christian and Mark are in the little formats. I think that those are really cute. I do agree with taking out the managers. I think that takes off a lot of extra time that just doesn't need to be there. I think it's fun whenever the managers were in studio, but for this online format, I think it's totally fine not to have them on there. So
I wonder what the what am I trying to say? Like the how they could do it where almost like they would go to their corner with their manager, like you get dropped into like another room between rounds or whatever, and be like, go talk to your manager. We don't see that. We loved seeing it last season where you could hear the manager say anything, but it's not really like conducive to the manager player role. Like you don't want to give away your secrets. You don't want to like tell them what. We love the secret codes and stuff like that, but it's still kind of like,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Dean, it is weird in that shot that that Laura has a corruption logo by her instead of swag. I don't know, maybe if that was like something in post-production that they just messed up, or is it like a slip? I don't. Who knows? But yeah, I like the new look. I like what they're doing. Again, it's growing pains. This is still, not even a year old of us having to do things this way. So anything they can do to keep it fresh, make it look better, make it better. I'm loving it.
Yeah, I like it.
Let's see here. We got some rule book updates. No timeouts and no faction versus faction, no interfaction matches. So no swag playing of another swag. What do you think about that, Danny?
I agree. I think it's going to be interesting to see if a triple threat match has to come up. That's going to be really interesting to see when that rule gets implemented, because seeing the triple threat format, I think, would be the most interesting thing to see for that. And again, it gives the faction the chance to not be able to gain those points. So no guaranteed points. No, what was the phrase that everyone was using? I can't remember the phrase that everyone was using for free points.
Yeah, no, like no free points or whatever.
Yeah. So none of that. I like that. I think that that's great. The timeout rule, again, I don't know how that would work. I've never seen it before, so I'm not gonna miss something that I've never had. So I'm not too worried about it. It's not there. I thought it was an interesting rule to add to the rule book in the first place. But we'll see. We'll see what the rule book changes to also, because I believe there are going to be a few more tweaks to it before it gets released to the public. Because right now we've seen a rough draft, or the first draft for the Patreons have seen it.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to get the final copy of the rule book whenever it releases to the public. So get a little bit more from that.
Yeah, so the only thing about the no faction matches is, I think, unless it's a tournament. If you have, 16 teams, 16 players in a tournament, if they get to the finals, like last season, Chance played Mike in the finals of the IG tournament. You're not just going to make that a random triple threat match because nobody else has earned the right to go into it. So, outside of tournaments, that's Christian scheduling. There should never be. But the only one other thing is this too. So this title matches. Like if you win the IG tournament, you get an IG title shot. Are they just going to make that a triple threat match with somebody else? Or are they not going to have a tournament final and just have it now be a title match? That's going to be interesting to see. If it's going to be ending up being interfaction,
Right. I don't know. That's what it's going to be interesting to see, because we haven't seen this implemented before. So what is that going to look like if, let's say, Robert Parker ends up getting the title shot and it's him going up against Mara for the belt? Does that turn into a triple threat match? Oh, man. And who gets the opportunity for that triple threat match? Is it the person that, or do you even continue with the tournament at all? And whatever the final round of the tournament is, it automatically turns into a triple threat match for the belt because, well, you can't even do that because what if in that tournament that person beats Parker and then gets the solo shot to Mara? Then so you couldn't turn it into that. It would have. So would that person in turn who was in the final match with Parker, if Parker gets the match against Mara, does that person get caught up for a triple threat match? It's so confusing.
Yeah. Just keep it simple. We have a tournament. If you win the tournament, you get a title shot. I don't care what faction you are, because you know what? If you're getting free points or whatever they want to call it, you earn those free points because you won the title in the first place. Mara, like we'll take Mara and Robert as an example. Mara won the title, so she has the right to defend it against whoever. If Robert Parker wins the IG tournament, he has the right to challenge Mara for the title. Not in a triple threat match where you bring in some arbitrary person. No, 1v1. Yes, the dungeon gets all the points. Okay, they earn those points by winning a tournament and winning a title. And just because Mara has the title, that shouldn't preclude Robert from earning and getting title shots, that are 1v1,
Yeah.
They'd have to earn those.
Yeah,
if it's arbitrary, where like Christian, let's say, like, okay, number one contender match. Christian kind of arbitrarily picks Snyder versus Murrell. He doesn't actually, because it's the winner. It's the person who lost the title match last year against the tournament runner-up. But, like, if they had been in the same faction, does that mean suddenly, like, we now have to make this a triple threat, where now we are arbitrarily adding someone to it?
I think at that point, if that would have happened, let's say if Snyder and Dan Murrell did end up getting on the same faction, I don't think that Harloff would have scheduled that match. I think we got the opportunity for that match because they are on different factions, because Harloff seems to be very actively working against putting up faction against faction in these matches. And I want to bring up something that Justin Square is saying in the chat. Just like the Finstock Exchange earned being able to retain the Horsemen last year, and how they basically were able to keep the belt last year with the type of players that they had and who was going up against two at the time. So I think I'm very interested to see how this works. I think that the reason that we don't know for sure, we don't know how it's going to work out. We don't know we're all just kind of guessing what's going to happen, what could possibly happen at this point. But I think having that rule there just to make sure that there's no guaranteed faction points, in my opinion, I like it. I think that that's fine. I think that that's great. It'll be very interesting to see how it works out for title shots, because I do agree with you. If, let's say, if Robert Parker does get through all of the tournament and then he gets to go up against Mark Knopik for the belt, I kind of really do agree with you that it should be a 1v1 match.
Yeah, he earned a 1v1 match. Like, he should get it. I like them saying that in the regular season or like normal matches, we aren't going to have faction versus faction or whatever, or interfaction or whatever. But when it comes to title shots, number one contender matches, all those sorts of things, leave it alone. It's tournaments, leave it alone. Like, if that's how the chips fall, that's how they fall, because people earn those things, and you shouldn't lessen somebody's accomplishment of earning that by now saying, oh well, we have to add somebody else because you're both faction mates. Like, come on, like. It's like last year, at the beginning of last year, when they had the triple threat between Dan, the Kid, and Bibbs, and it was a little clunky. Like, triple threat matches are always clunky. I don't really like triple threat matches that much.
Yeah, and that I think anyways, okay, moving on.
Moving on. We are getting 2 Star Wars tournaments this year. Super excited for that. We finally have a division that is deep enough, that has enough players, because we added so many new Star Wars players this year that you can easily field a big tournament, a 16-person tournament. You know, it's funny how like far we've come in especially the IG and Star Wars division. Because before, in the beginning, like Star Wars, you get like one match a year. It was like, you know, you got the Knapsack winning the title the one year, and then you got him facing Whitwer after like Whitwer won a 5-way the second year. And that was like what it was. There'd be a 5-way number one contenders match and then a title match. That was the entire Star Wars season.
Very slow, very slow.
And IG was kind of like that too. You had like 5 ways to determine who won the title first.
I'm gonna leave you hanging one more time.
That's cool. So like you would get these like, and that's what it was. But then we got the IG tournament, which we finally had enough IG players to field a tournament. Kind of now have a whole division that's super strong. There's a lot of different players, and now the Star Wars is on that level as well. I think they're not going to be the same tournament. I think the first one's going to be 8 players, and then the second one is going to be 16 players, which is super exciting, especially because now you get the first one. It's like, all right, here's my big Star Wars player, but I only have to pick one. So if I like, let's say somebody like Corruption, they drafted 2 Star Wars players. One's Joseph Scrimshaw, one's Sean Sullivan. Maybe Scrimshaw's not available right now. So, hey, all you got to do is have Sullivan. Sullivan's right in the tournament. Boom, nailing it. And then when Scrimshaw's available later in the year, hopefully he can be in that tournament as well. Damon retains all year. I honestly, it's so tough, man. I don't see it happening. Like, he's got to be like, at this point, he's got to be burnt out. Honestly, if Alex Damon retains the Star Wars title this whole year, Alex Damon's the GOAT. I don't care. It's done and dusted. Yeah. Like, forget about it. I don't care what anybody else has done. He's only lost 1 match in his entire Schmoedown career. It's in a 5-way to Sam Whitwer. Like, Alex Damon's the GOAT if he retains the whole year.
Especially with the caliber of players that we have now. Like, just seeing the first match between Laura Kelly and Molly Damon, I think, is a great example of the type of player that you need to be inside of this Star Wars tournament. And that's just a lot of fun to see. And I'm very excited to see the level of questions that they ask, like how hard they are and the level of difficulty that these questions are throughout the tournament. With these newer Star Wars players that we haven't seen before, are we going to be able to get some, maybe what some would call easier questions, and then kind of see how that goes throughout the season, because we're going to have more matches. I'm just excited overall to get 2 tournaments, one in May. So that's going to be great, because I feel like that's definitely going to probably be around Star Wars, either May the 4th or May 25th, which is my birthday, but also Star Wars anniversary. So
there you go. That's the thing is, I think, so Alex Damon, first of all, he's got to get through Demolanta.
Right.
Which is no easy task.
Not going to be an easy, no, not at all.
That's going to be a lot tougher than when he beat Ace. Sorry, Danny. Sorry that I brought that up. Your boy. If he gets to Demolanta, then he's got to get through Kelly, who just went perfect. Like, and went perfect, like, with ease. Didn't look like she broke a sweat.
Oh my God, no.
And again, because there's no buzzer round, he can't bully people in the buzzer round, which is where Alex Damon is a bully. He will bully you in that buzzer round. He can't do it anymore. It's going to be super tough. It's really going to be like random, like what the 5-pointer comes down to, and like which categories you pick in round 5. Maybe the betting round. Laura's got to be betting 3 every time, you know, pushing that. Same with Demolanta. You got to put pressure on Alex Damon. We have not seen Alex Damon truly under pressure yet, where he's losing heading into round 4 or he's losing heading into round 5. So, but if he gets through both of them, 2 of the best Star Wars competitors in the league, 100%, then he's going to have to get through the May winner, which is the 8 cream of the crop Star Wars players.
Right.
And then 16 competitors, which is not only the 8 cream of the crop, but it gives you an opportunity for people to come out of nowhere, like Ace did last year, to kind of like sweep the whole tournament. Like,
Yep.
Oh, man. Yeah, 10 questions of sudden death wouldn't be a surprise, Dean Morgan. Like 20, 30 questions of a sudden death. Like,
I'm sure that the question writers have their hands full with these Star Wars questions.
Yeah, I do not envy PJ or I just blinked on her name. What's her name?
Abby?
Abby, yeah. Wow, I just completely blanked on Abby's name. Sorry, Abby. Shout out Abby Frio. We love you. We stand question writers. As I always say, I don't always support the questions in the Schmoedown, but I always support the question writers in the Schmoedown. Yes, Star Drew, thank you. It is Abby Frio, a homegirl, friend of the show. Not a friend of me anymore because I just forgot her name completely. She now hates me. But yeah, so Star Wars tournaments, huge news there. I think we're gonna skip the Patreon spoiler discussion. Again, it's like you don't like spoilers. Sorry about your luck. It's the world we live in.
Bummer.
Also, I'm pretty sure everybody in our circle here, they watch the show so they don't get spoiled.
Yeah. I understand the level of frustration that some people can have, but as someone who's helped run an after show for quite some time now, we tried not talking about spoilers, and it really does hinder what we do with after shows in the long run. So it's unfortunate. Like, I really, really liked what Frank Jonas said on the rundown about a Facebook group being created that's a complete non-spoiler place. Like, go and make sure, like, hang out in there to make sure that you're not getting spoiled in certain cases, and then come back and watch the after shows after you watch them, because you'll have that there as it's something else to digest on also. So it's a lot of work for after shows to not talk about spoilers. It really, really is a lot of work to not talk about spoilers on our shows. So,
guys, we're going to spoil anything we can spoil. I mean, we're not going to. It's not even spoilers. We're going to talk about stuff that's already happened. Again, on pretty much every show of Call to Action. The only one that you might not get any spoilers in is Chill, because it's more of like a chill vibe. Like, but even on Chill, there'll be people who do spoilers because they'll talk about matches that have. Sometimes we get spoilers on Chill that are like legitimate spoilers, because we'll get people talking about matches that taped that haven't even been shown yet.
Sometimes we'll get in trouble.
Remember, sometimes we get a talking to from Daddy Hardoff. If you want to see a discussion of spoilers, check out Twitch Tuesday from last week with myself, Nat, and Dylan. We talked about there you go, Danny Toss. We talk about cheese, but we also talk about spoilers. Alan Smithy, I love spoilers. Give me the most spoilers. What's good, Schmoedown? I love Alan Smithy. Alan Smithy, you're one of my favorite people. 100%. I love you so much.
Over here for sure.
Oh. All right, so what else we got here? Oh, we had a big announcement for the First Class League. Huge announcement for our friends over at the First Class League. They are friends of the show. And the announcement is Schmoedown legend Rachel Cushing joins the FCL announcing team. 100% amazing. What a get for the FCL. It'll be interesting to see, like, is she, like, there all the time? Is it like her and Brad? Is she going to be there sometimes? Because Rachel's a busy lady. She's got a lot of work to do. So, but anytime you get Rachel on the desk, it's fantastic. I love when you get, like, not random people on the desk, but like people you don't normally get on the desk. Like, we used to get like Dan Murrell on the desk every once in a while, and now Rachel's obviously.
Chandler would come out on the desk when Miss Movies would come out on the desk. That was
amazing. Yes. We stand Brianne Chandler in this podcast 100%. Follow her on Instagram. You can follow her like story, like how she's learning to play the guitar. It's amazing. We love Brianne. And I think that's about it. So one other thing we have to do is we have a fantasy update from our fantasy correspondent, Mr. Nat Vu. Let's send it over to, where's it at?
Wait, I have it, but before we do that, I send a big shout out to John Kaiser in the chat. Why does Billy look like he lost an arm wrestling match to Sylvester Stallone? That's not a lie.
I mean, I was a trucker for a while. I wanted to win a diesel 18, semi, and it just didn't happen for me. Sylvester turned his hat around. He had his snot-nosed kid with him who was super annoying, and that's how that happened.
Alrighty. So before we play this video, I'm just gonna move it really quickly. So before we play this video, this is gonna be a new segment that we're gonna be starting on Call Live. If you follow the Schmoedown, there's a lot of people doing fantasy drafts for their Schmoedown. A lot of people picking different people from different factions. We wanted to talk about fantasy Schmoedown on our show too. So we're gonna start doing little bits of fantasy updates, and part of those fantasy updates are going to be from the one, the only, the Nat Daddy himself. So please enjoy Nat Vu giving you a C2A fantasy update, or just a fantasy update.
What is this? No Chill Natty on Call Live? Oh, okay. Well, this is a new segment that Danielle's making me do, which it's going to be kind of like Josh McCouga did in season 3. Like, I'm not Josh McCouga. I'm not nearly as funny, nearly as charming, and I'm almost as good looking. Not quite there, but I don't have props. I don't have Cody Hall with me. I'm all alone in my house. I live alone. I don't have anyone.
Yeah.
But anyway, we are going to be talking about fantasy, and I will be giving you some helpful advice if you're not already in a fantasy league. So here we go. If you have any of these people, or better yet, all of them, you will succeed for sure. Number 1, Dan Murrell. If you can get Dan Murrell, you should probably get Dan Murrell. And you probably can't, because he's probably going to be taken first. He's the GOAT. And I got him. Number 2, Laura Kelly. Here's some really good advice here.
He's bragging about his fantasy
I've made
team.
this mistake.
Of course.
Every single year I play fantasy, except for this year. Never draft. I shouldn't say never, but you should probably not draft a champion, like these champion, because let's see, going back a few years, I drafted. They retire or they drop the belt immediately. Sam Levine retired. Ethan Irwin dropped the belt. Ben Bateman dropped the belt. Don't make that mistake. I didn't. Draft someone who's on the cusp of winning a championship potentially. Draft Laura Kelly like I did. And you see her match? You see that match? Worked out real well for me. Number 3, Drew Weenie. This man's out for revenge. He's gonna dominate. I can't believe I got him that late, but I'm playing with a bunch of jabronis. I'm also really good at drafting. Number 4.
Hey, I'm gonna crush it in fantasy league this year. Okay.
Maybe he still does. I don't know. But he's good at what he does. So pick him up. Mark Andreyko, champion. I know I said not to draft champions, but it's round number 5, and I got Mark Andreyko. Are you kidding me? The Jackal, Jesse Swift. He has a match coming up. Also, draft people with matches coming up, because those are some early points.
That was my strategy.
And I'm expecting big things from Jesse Swift. He's gonna pay off big time. I got Peggy Gubbins, who I've also heard very good things. She's from the Fan Leagues. She's gonna kill it. Eric Whiteley, I've also heard very good things. I've done my research on all of these people. He's gonna crush it. Jess Sloth. Now mark my words. Let's say by October, Jess will be a champion in the league.
That's fantasy corner, just right reading off his draft.
He's literally just reading off his draft.
Whitney Seibold, are you kidding me? Do these people not know how to draft? How did I get Whitney Seibold in round number 10?
That actually did. That's real life. That did happen.
I'm going to dominate this league. You know what I'm saying? Number 11, Paige Fred Betty. I also got what I feel like is going to be a very good player late, just like Sam Levine did. She's already my favorite person from New England, which is pretty low there, but I like her a lot. She's going to do big things. And Felix Mort, who is a winner if I've ever seen one. I don't know anything about him, but he's a winner. You know. Now back to the actual events this week. Man, the guy who drafted Laura Kelly is some kind of genius. You know what I mean? She fucking put up some points. How many points you get? Probably checked this before I started this video, but you know, not the best player.
No,
she got 26 points.
26
plus title shot bonus.
Yeah,
so that's money in the bank, baby. And she has a really good chance of winning that title. I won't say real good chance because Alex Damon is really good, and Andrew DiMolata is also very good. But you know, you never know with Star Wars. I'm not currently in the lead. Currently, Alex is in the lead because she has Mara, which is huge. Like I said, going back to what I said before, don't draft the champion, draft someone who's on the cusp of winning a championship. And, oh my God, if she keeps playing the way she does, then she's going to be hard to stop. You know what I mean? She's going to be, if she keeps playing the way she did, I don't see anyone dethroning her for a while. But yeah, that's basically your fancy update. I feel bad for the guy who had Chandru. I really like Chandru. No, it's not a popular opinion, and I felt bad seeing him lose, but I felt even better because Dylan drafted Chandru, and if you've watched any of my content, you know that I can't stand that son of a bitch, Dylan. So, also, Dylan didn't draft Eric Zipper. What the fuck? How do you not draft your favorite player? You know?
Okay, yes, that's right.
What's going on there?
That's right.
Anyway, that's been your fancy update for the week. I will be back every call live episode, maybe, probably not. Depends on how I'm feeling. That's a pretty big commitment, you know. And people may not understand that this whole thing I've got going on is actually a character, and I'm actually a very likable guy. Speaking of which, check out No Chill with Nat and Dylan. First episode, Brendan Meyer. Very good episode. It's the funniest thing you'll ever see. There's some dislikes on it, but that's because people don't understand that. They don't understand my creative genius, you know. And Dylan's creative genius.
Right, Nat.
Yeah,
that's
right. There's going to be one next month or this month, depending. In a few weeks.
Are you going to drop it?
In a few weeks, there's going to be a new episode because we're doing this monthly. Check out Twitch. Twitch.tv/call to action, the number 2.
I know who it is.
Every Tuesday at 6. Check us out. I don't know who's on this call live episode because this first segment is pre-recorded. So if we have a guest that's on my fantasy team, say what's up. And if you're watching this and you're on my fantasy team, then don't tell the others, but you're my favorite. I don't know if Paul's on this episode, because if he is, he's probably gonna talk a bunch of shit about me, and I can't really.
We don't let Paul on the show anymore.
So if he does, then that's a real dick move, Paul. You're better than that. But yeah, back to you guys on a call live. See ya, everybody.
Thanks, Nat. Big shout out to Nat Vu, everyone. Founding member of Call to Action. We are trying to bring you some fantasy updates. I asked Nat if he wanted to, give some informative, deep dived information about fantasy because Nat has always been the winner of our Call to Action fantasy leagues. So I thought let's do a serious segment about fantasy. And then this is what Nat sends me.
It's fantastic. I am retired from the C2A fantasy because I crushed it last year and absolutely destroyed everyone with by following the Belford rule of draft Dan Murrell. Now my successor, my trainee, my confidant Nat has now taken that, and he's also gonna win because he drafted Dan Murrell. Danny, I do have a question about the C2A draft. Here's a little behind the scenes, guys. So we had the free agency signing and the draft, and then we did our call to action draft, and we with some of the brightest minds in the Schmoedown community. When was JTE drafted? When did he get drafted? Like the 9th round. Dylan drafted JTE in the 9th round.
Yes. Look. I'm not saying that we're perfect at fantasy drafting. That's why we did not put ours on camera. We did do a mock draft that we had fun with and did that on air, but like our actual fantasy draft, we will not ever. That is definitely one of our favorite things to do as a group together, because we have a lot of fun talking a lot of shit inside of that group chat.
Paul won the fantasy league like when in like the old year when like nobody like it wasn't even really like a thing. Like
Paul just tries to hold that over everyone's head because he won once and thinks that he can. Look, it's my year, baby. It's my year. I finally learned. I feel good. I've listened to some of the stupid stuff that Nat says, and I think I got this. This is my year for fantasy, baby.
Again, go watch last week's or this past week's episode of Twitch Tuesday, where I do a little commentary on some of the draft choices that people made. Yeah, you can say Team Danny in the chat. If you looked at her team, you probably wouldn't be on Team Danny anymore.
Whatever. Don't hate on my draft team. Look, I got a plan. I got a strategy going. I'm not gonna announce it on here, but I got this. All right, I got this.
This is a fact from Danny Coast. Danny Cost. His is sneaky good. Like that, actually, Danny Cost.
Honestly, Danny
Cost is a low-key chance to win it. But he didn't draft Murrell, so he's not going to. Only if you draft Murrell do you win.
Yeah, so if you want to know how we drafted our fantasy, you can go check that out on Twitch Tuesdays, on that episode of Twitch Tuesdays, and then we will definitely find a way to talk more fantasy, Schmoedown fantasy drafting inside of Call Live after the matches, because this has always been a fun thing that we've done as a crew together. I loved that POV did theirs and that they're doing it. I thought that was so much fun to watch. It was great. So I know that there are a lot of people out there that enjoy doing these fantasy stuff. So hopefully we'll have a good time with it.
Ross Bristow, I did a fantasy draft with What the Show, and I got Roca in the 4th round with the 4th pick in the 4th round. So it was fantastic. I
feel like that's kind of become like an unspoken rule, because nowhere was it actually said in any of the rules, but in the 3 fantasy teams that I'm a part of, that happened in every single one. Oh, funny.
Shout out to John Roca. We love John Roca. Speaking of feuds, we had a feud with John Roca for a little while there.
That is my favorite feud. There we go.
That might be the best one ever. But that's it, Danny. I think we got through another episode of Call Live. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Thank you to everyone who super chat from Streamlabs. Anybody who's ever supported us.
Yes, before we go, I'm super sorry. Weston Iro did send us a super chat. Thank you so much, Weston, for that. Weston says, I want tacos now. Where's the hashtag blame PLD, hashtag blame Jake merch? 100%, Weston. I agree with you on all of those fronts. Give me tacos all the time. And we definitely should get a blame PLD shirt.
There needs to be a hashtag blame PLD. We did coin a new one, everybody. It's now hashtag PL Dealbreaker. Because if PLD's there, then Jake, we're trying to.
I put them on. Look, they're on. I did it.
We're doing the thing, Jake. We're trying. I'm still new to this.
But I got it.
So big news as far as Call Live goes, real quick, guys. So for the most part, it's going to be me kind of hosting, and then with whoever from the crew wants to be on. Danny obviously is open invitation. Again, she is the Josh McCouga to my Cody Hall. And next week we actually have Ben Campbell joining us. As I like to call him, the Scottish Inquisition with that beautiful, beautiful Scottish accent. Good God, our ears are going to be, caressed by his beautiful Scottish accent. But yeah, cannot wait to have you guys back again next Saturday. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. You guys are so amazing. We love you guys.
Yeah.
Smash that like button, or dislike it. If you don't like it, smash that too. Leave a comment though and tell us why you don't like it. All right,
Yeah.
So we can improve.
Or leave a comment and tell us why you did like it. Also, leave a comment in there and tell us your biggest feuds for the Turn It Up to 11 show. So leave your comments in the comment section for your favorite feuds or what you believe are the biggest feuds. That way they can. So this guy over here and the other guy that's over there can talk about it.
Yeah, PLD over. Danny, where can the folks find you?
Y'all know me. It's your girl, Danny Joy. You can find me on Twitter at Danny Joy, DANIEEJOY. You can also find me here on the Call to Action Network every week, depending on the day. I don't know what day it is. We're going through a lot of changes, and I have not made up my mind on anything yet. So you can find me here hanging out with my favorite co-host, Mr. Paul Denuzio, on Chill to Action, along with some other big changes for that. Billy Belford will be a standing member of the Chill to Action crew going forward. Again, Billy Belford will be a standing co-host on that. And again, keeping Kelsey Kirkland on with that as well. Our sweet baby Kelsey producing everything in the background. So big shout out to the crew. Big shout out to everyone inside of the Call to Action crew. I love you all so much. You all have kept me completely sane. Alex, Dylan, Nat, Danny, Jarvie, Jake, Megs. I love you all so much. I can't even begin to say it. So that's it. That's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, you can find me, as she said, on Chill to Action. You can also find me every other Monday for Turn It Up to 11 with me and PLD. You're going to find me a lot here on Call Live, so get used to hating this face. Woo! But yeah, you can also find me on Twitter at Mr. Billy Belford. You can find Call to Action on Twitter at Call to Action. You can also join our patreon.com/Call to Action.
There's a lot of stuff that I have to apologize for February, but don't worry, March will be coming in full swing, y'all. I promise the Patreon is going to make a big comeback.
Hell yeah. We got all kinds of fun things coming to the Patreon. We're back on Anchor, up to date. Danny Cost like Lost, killing it. Got that back up to date.
Big shout out to Danny for that one.
So you can find us wherever you have podcasts, so you can listen to our amazing voices. Well, Danny's amazing voice and my weird
Billy's got
Mid-Atlantic accent.
It's like Billy Joel on the piano keys. I love it.
Oh, it's like Billy Bats on the piano keys. But that is it for us tonight, guys. We made it. Thank you so much for joining us. Check us out again next week, right back here at Call to Action. We out, folks.